My boyfriend broke up with me with these words: "Goodbye. I've found someone better and more valuable than you." He left me to be with my childhood friend, making me feel betrayed and shattered. But when fate finally turned the tables, all I could do was laugh. Before the story begins, if you like our channel, subscribe to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. And now, we invite you to enjoy a story with an unexpected ending. You know that moment when it feels like the ground disappears beneath your feet? That feeling when the air suddenly becomes too heavy to breathe? That's exactly how I felt when Ethan, the man I loved, looked me in the eyes and coldly said, "Goodbye. I found someone better and more valuable than you." I blinked a few times trying to process his words. Better? More valuable? Like I was some disposable object he could just trade in for something new. "What?" was all I could manage to say, my voice trembling. Ethan crossed his arms and sighed, impatient, as if this conversation was nothing but an inconvenience for him. "Olivia and I are together now. I've always felt something for her, and when I realized she's so much more of a woman than you, well, it was impossible to resist." My stomach twisted. Olivia, my childhood friend, my confidant, the person I considered a sister. A nervous laugh escaped before I could stop it. This couldn't be real. This couldn't be happening. Is this some kind of joke? But it wasn't. Ethan's smug expression and the complete lack of regret on his face told me everything I needed to know. And the worst part? Olivia was there too. Arms crossed, a small smirk on her lips. "You're overvaluing this relationship, honey," she said, her tone making me feel even worse. "You and Ethan never had anything special. I just realized it before you did." My heart shattered. It wasn't just the pain of a boyfriend's betrayal. It was the knife in the back from a friend I never imagined would do this to me. Ethan grabbed his car keys, like nothing had happened, and gave me a half smile. "Good luck in life." Then he turned around and left, taking Olivia with him. I stood there, frozen, my body forgetting how to move. My chest burned, my throat was tight, and all I could think was, how can people be so cruel? I watched them get into the car together, laughing, and that's when the anger started to rise inside me. It wasn't just sadness. It wasn't just disappointment. It was a fire burning through me. And in that moment, I promised myself this pain wouldn't destroy me. If they thought I would fall apart, they were dead wrong. This isn't over. In the first few days after the betrayal, I was a complete mess. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. My chest ached like something had been ripped out of me, leaving behind an emptiness that felt impossible to fill. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Ethan's face telling me he had found someone better and more valuable. And as if that wasn't enough, Olivia's image would appear right after, looking at me with that smug little smile. My best friend, the love of my life, together. It was humiliating. I felt small, worthless, disposable. Social media only made everything worse. The day after our breakup, their photos started popping up all over Instagram. Ethan and Olivia at a romantic dinner. Ethan and Olivia laughing at the park where he used to take me. Olivia posting a story with the caption, "Fate always finds a way to bring together those who truly belong." Every phone notification felt like another punch to the chest. The worst part was going outside. Our town wasn't that big, and soon it felt like everyone knew what had happened. I got pitying looks at the grocery store, at work, even at the gym. Some people tried to be kind. "I'm so sorry about what happened. You deserved better." But others, well, they loved gossip. "Wow, it must be tough seeing your ex with your best friend, huh?" I pretended not to care, smiled, said I had moved on, but inside, I was shattered. Then I hit rock bottom. It was a Saturday night, and I was alone in my apartment, curled up in a blanket, holding a tub of ice cream while watching some random movie. My eyes burned from crying too much. That's when my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. "He never loved you. You were just a distraction." My blood ran cold. I didn't need to ask who it was. The cruelty, the poison in those words. It was Olivia. It was like she wanted to make sure I knew my place, that I understood I was never good enough. My heart pounded, my hands trembled. The pain inside me twisted into something new, something stronger, anger. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. I got up from the couch and walked to the mirror. I stared at my reflection for a few seconds and barely recognized the person looking back. Dark circles under my eyes, messy hair, a lost, empty expression. I was destroying myself over people who were enjoying my pain. And right then and there, I made a promise to myself. I would not be a side character in their story. I would not be the betrayed, humiliated girl. They tossed me aside like I was nothing. Then I would show them, and the world, exactly what they lost. They would regret this. And this time, I would be the one laughing in the end. That night, after reading Olivia's cruel message, something inside me awakened. It was like all the pain had turned into fuel. If they thought I was going to fall apart, they were dead. Wrong. The first thing I did was erase every photo and memory of Ethan. I blocked both him and Olivia on all social media. If they wanted me to watch their little show, they'd have to do it without an audience. Then I did something I never thought I'd have the courage to do. I stopped feeling sorry for myself. Over the next few months, my life transformed. I took care of my body and mind. I went back to the gym, but this time, it wasn't to look good for anyone else. It was for me. I trained hard, pouring all my frustration into every workout. Every drop of sweat was a reminder that I was rebuilding myself. I focused on my career. At work, I pushed myself harder than ever. I became more ambitious, took on challenges that used to intimidate me, and before long, I got promoted. Suddenly, I was traveling for business, meeting incredible people, and realizing how much I had been holding myself back before. I changed my style. I got a new haircut, revamped my wardrobe, and started feeling more confident. I walked with my head held high, no longer afraid of running into old acquaintances who thrived on gossip. And then, the rumors started. It seemed that while I was rising, Ethan and Olivia were crumbling. Their social media wasn't so perfect anymore. The lovey-dovey couple photos started disappearing. The romantic dinner stories? Gone. Those smug, passive-aggressive captions? Suddenly non-existent. Their fairy tale turned into a nightmare. Word got around that Ethan lost his job. Turns out he was good at tearing me down, but not so good at keeping a job without someone to support him. Olivia, the queen of drama, started complaining that he wasn't as perfect as she thought. The betrayals continued. The most ironic part? Ethan cheated on her, with some random girl he met at a bar. Exactly the way things started with me. And then came the sweetest moment of all. One night, as I was leaving a fancy restaurant with some colleagues, I heard a familiar voice call my name. It was him. Ethan. I turned around slowly, and there he was. Different. Messy hair, wrinkled clothes, and desperation in his eyes. Hey, wow, you look amazing. I didn't reply. I just crossed my arms and waited. I know I was an idiot. Olivia, well, she's nothing like I thought, and I realized I made a terrible mistake. Can you give me a chance to explain? And that was the moment I knew. I won, and all I could do was laugh. There he was. Ethan. The man who had destroyed me without hesitation, now standing in front of me, looking like a ghost of who he once was. His eyes were different, empty, uncertain, full of regret. He was no longer the same confident guy who had looked at me with disdain and said he'd found someone better and more valuable. Now he looked lost, as if, somehow, he knew his life had fallen apart. And me? I was at my peak, dressed in a sleek blazer, high heels, flawless makeup, holding my designer bag like this moment was nothing more than just another scene in my amazing day. But inside? Inside, I was savoring every second. What did you say? I asked, pretending not to have heard him. Ethan cleared his throat, nervous. I'm sorry. I made a huge mistake. I thought Olivia was different. But she just wanted to compete with you. The whole time it was a game. She never cared about me. She only wanted what was yours. A smirk crossed my lips. Now he saw it. Now he understood the obvious. And you? I continued, crossing my arms. You really thought you deserved something better, didn't you? He lowered his head. For the first time, Ethan had nothing to say. I could have humiliated him right then and there. I could have thrown all my pain in his face, made him feel everything I went through. But you know what? I didn't need to. Fate had already done it for me. And he wasn't the only one who fell. Days after that encounter, karma came knocking on my former best friend's door. Olivia, the girl who once looked at me with superiority, was now completely alone. Ethan had cheated on her the same way he had cheated on me. This time, she was the disposable one. I heard she tried to get back at him, made a scene, even posted passive-aggressive messages on social media. But no one cared anymore. The big winner of the story had no one left to cheer for her. And then came the most ironic moment of all. She texted me. Yes. Olivia actually had the audacity to reach out to me. I know you hate me, but I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I think he manipulated me and now I understand what you went through. Can we talk? I laughed. Not out of happiness, not out of revenge. I laughed because it was pathetic. Did they really think I was still the same naive girl I once was? I ignored her. I didn't reply. Because in that moment, I understood something. I was so far above this story that it wasn't even worth my time anymore. Ethan and Olivia could have whatever was left of each other. Me? I was too busy living my best life. That night, after ignoring Olivia's pathetic message, I put my phone down and went on with my life as if nothing had happened. Because, honestly, it didn't matter anymore. I didn't need revenge. My own growth was the greatest victory I could have ever asked for. While Ethan and Olivia were sinking in the mess they had created for themselves, I was too busy shining. My career was at its peak. I got promoted again, this time to a position that gave me both recognition and power. I was, traveling to events, meeting inspiring people, and finally being valued for my work. The same career Ethan once dismissed as insignificant had now become my greatest source of pride. My social life had never been better. I started going out more, meeting new people, forming genuine friendships, people who actually cared about me, not the ones who only stuck around when it was convenient for them. And love? Well, it found me at the right time. After months of focusing on myself, someone special came into my life. Someone who didn't see me as disposable, who recognized my worth, respected me, and made me feel truly loved. And then, fate handed me one last scene to wrap this story up perfectly. One afternoon, I was sitting in an upscale cafe in the city center. My new boyfriend sat across from me, holding my hand as we laughed and talked. And that's when I noticed Ethan was there, alone. Looking exhausted, dark circles under his eyes, lost. He saw me, and I saw the shock in his eyes. He hadn't expected to see me like this, radiant, happy, with an incredible man by my side. For a brief second, our eyes met. And then I smiled. Not a revenge smile, not a taunting smile, but a genuine one. Because I had won. I had won without stooping to their level, without seeking payback. My victory was simply moving on. Ethan lowered his head as if, in that moment, he finally understood everything. As if, for the first time, he truly felt the weight of what he had done. But you know what's funny? I didn't feel anything anymore. No pain, no resentment, nothing. Because in the end, the best revenge will always be success. And me? I had moved on a long time ago.